Let's go live to Perth. Tom Donnelly, Highlanders assistant coach, is joining us ahead of the away match against the Force. Now, the Force have actually only played 2 times in Perth this year, and they've won them both. Tom, welcome back to the show, mate.
Cheers, thanks for having me.
Well, I might as well ask you about the Commonwealth Games. Have you heard about that? We might host them in 2034. What do you reckon?
Yeah, it'd be fantastic. I remember as a young kid, 1990, I think they were last time in Auckland, were they? Is that right?
Yep.
Yeah, Mum and Dad put us in the car and drove us up the motorway to go and see the Commonwealth Games for a day, and got about half an hour. I lived in Rotorua, about half an hour to Auckland, and Dad starts losing the plot. He'd left the tickets at home. It was a fun sort of hour and a half of him scrambling around, going to the box office, trying to sort some new tickets. Yeah.
What a great story. What a great memory of it. Look, my old man, my old man, rest in peace, was the ultimate panicast, mate. So what he'd do is he'd leave the house. We'd be an hour away in the car going up the Kapiti Coast or whatever, and he'd go, "Did I turn the oven off?" I go, "Dad, you turned it off." No. He drove back around. Well, I'm not joking, all the way back to Upper Hutt to check it one time, mate. So they're great memory, though, of the Commonwealth Games. Yeah, I agree with it. Anyway, we'll move on to where we're talking about, which is the Highlanders. You've got Hunt, Burns and Timu back. But a real quandary as to who you're going to play at halfback.
Yeah, we've also got the 2 young boys with us, and Jimmy Ascott's had a bit of game time last week, so he's going to start, and then Nathan Hasty gets a crack off the bench, which will be pretty exciting for the young fella. He's actually from Perth, came over to New Zealand, he's about sort of 9 or 10, so he's got a lot of family and friends still here, so it's an awesome opportunity for him.
Look, I mean, I know you've been mired in injuries and a huge long list since the start of the season. Does this feel like, God almighty, we're kind of like returning back to the future?
Yeah, it's just footy these days, isn't it? It's such a brutal sport that you've got to be prepared and have trust in your squad that if someone gets an injury, it's just an opportunity for someone else to step up.
This Force game was the game that also kick-started your season in Invercargill, although let's forget the last 20 minutes of that game. Yeah, we obviously did a pretty good job there to get that done, but they were pretty fizz up, and it's a big ask, and travelling all the way from here to New Zealand as it is travelling all the way from New Zealand to here, so should be a humdinger come Saturday afternoon. All right, you've had the bye. What have you been doing during that bye, apart from getting your players back?
Yeah, no, we gave most of the lads quite a few days off early in the week. We sort of came in the back end of the week and had a couple of days training, and then left to come over here, and no, the lads got away from footy. A lot went hunting. I was in the middle of the Raw, so there's quite a few stags shot, which was good. And a big group of our lads love playing golf, so they headed over to the hills and had a round at the hills. And, yeah, just got away from footy a wee bit, but still sort of stayed connected, and then ripped into training on Sunday, and then now we're in Perth.
More than halfway through the season. So what is your focus from here on in? Obviously, it's staying in the 8. And a win on Saturday night would help that.
Yeah, 100%, mate. It's funny to say it's half the season. It's gone by like a flash, to be honest. Yeah. But yeah, definitely, mate. Our challenge going forward is to make sure we get enough points over these final few rounds to be in the 8. And then once you're in playoff games, mate, it's one-off games, then it can happen.
So what is the current state with Whakatawa?
He's got COVID, mate. So he might have been out of his isolation today or tomorrow. We'll put him through some testing and see how he's sort of handled the COVID, and then he'll hopefully be available for selection next week against the Waratahs in Sydney.
Tom, what are the main aspects? What are the hardest things about playing in Perth? I mean, it's not a huge flight, but it's the biggest flight you get in this comp.
Yes, it's probably a little bit of time difference as well. It's obviously 5 hours behind, so a lot of the guys were sort of at wake at 3 or 4 in the morning, and what are we here now? We're only sort of 10 in the morning. It feels like sort of late afternoon, so obviously the challenge is that, and then obviously the challenges around training. Flew over, so it's sort of trained today. We probably can't get to the same intensity we want to 2 days out from a game. And it's like anything, mate, you're in an away game. Everything's a little bit different. I suppose the positive side of it is that, we get to be together for 3 or 4 days before a game, living with each other, which means you can have a heap of conversations around the plan and what's happening and what do we need to look out for when we're living all together.
So getting back to the 500, 3 wins, 3 losses, I mean, that was enormous, wasn't it? Because that kind of all right, we can start the season from scratch again now.
Yeah, look, we just sort of, like we said the whole time, a tough start for us. We tried to get a few points that didn't quite go to plan, and then we also knew we had a bulk of games that we could definitely win. We managed to take a few of them off, and now we're sort of at this point where we've got some must-win games if we want to get enough points to get to the playoffs. So that's sort of where we're at.
Dave Dillon made a comment during the week. He's a good old mate, and hopefully you'll get to say hi to Danny Hay while he's over there too, another good old mate. But he was saying that, he thinks that, maybe some relaxation needed around the All Black jersey and playing overseas. Do you share those same thoughts?
Shit. Bit above my pay grade, that sort of stuff, mate. It's a real tough one, isn't it? I think that the market we're in down here is obviously pretty small, and for guys to, I suppose, capitalise on their playing careers, which is only a small time. A lot of money's overseas. But at the same time, if you want to play for the All Blacks, the ability to stay here and make the game strong in the country is also, that's a bit of a lure. So, yeah, look, that's a tough one. It's going to be an age-old question for a long time, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm not sure if there's any right answer either. That's the thing.
No, that's exactly right, mate. And if you're looking at it from the South, because they're probably the first country to do it, and their rugby at home actually got quite poor for a while there. And now they've sort of brought a whole lot of those players back. They've got those teams up into the URC in the Northern Hemisphere. Their domestic footy is starting to come quite strong again. So, yeah, a real challenge that around the, I suppose, the powers that be. A big decision to be made in the next few years, I suppose. All
right, best of luck for Saturday night. And then, of course, you stay in Oz. You've got the Waratahs after that, and then the Chiefs. And they're not a bad side either, are they?
Yeah, no, they're going all right.
Yep.
Yeah, we're just one game at a time for us at the moment. We'll get through the Perth force on Saturday and then focus on Tars. And, obviously then we'll come back to New Zealand and rip into the Chiefs.
All right, nice talking to you as always, mate. Appreciate your time, Tom. Thanks, dude.
No problem, mate. Enjoy your afternoon.